Raise your hands, it's a celebration. I planned it this way. Now I say, amen, 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 amen. I let it shine.
Hey, what's up? I'm sitting here on the red couch with Blayze. I feel like I actually unearthed him from wherever he was. Like, where have you been?
I'm around.
Yeah.
It's been in studio. Obviously still working on commercial music singles, but also the corporate side of it. There's a couple of opportunities that have come up to work with some really cool brands that I've worked with before, but also with new brands. So yeah, just trying to balance the two.
How are you doing? I just literally just fell into this interview. How are you doing?
I'm good. How you been?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been bumping into each other.
True.
Out of the scene.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You always, every time I ask you, what have you been doing? What are you up to? You always mention working with brands.
Yeah.
Is that like your competitive advantage?
Depends. Competitive advantage. What are you talking about? In the commercial space, yes, it is in a way. I think it's gotten to the point where working with brands should be something that an artist should be considering at some or other level, whether it's, brands backing your tour, or you doing jingles and voiceovers for the brand, or actually getting involved creatively. Hopefully that's where brands are looking to get, is to have artists in those strategic positions to say, okay, cool, your world, my world, this is how we mix, and these are the strategic moves you need to be making. Not just going, yo, here's the voiceover, here's the jingle, cool, do that. It's an in and it's a step in the right direction, but I just hope it gets to more than that. But I think every artist should have some sort of brand, positioning strategy or whatever it is that you're doing. Kid X dropped his joint Auntie today. Shout out Kid X. That's a bang of a track.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for the dude. And you can see the affiliation with Black Label in terms of the artwork and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's forward thinking. That's how you take it further. It's more than the music. It's social media, it's brands, it's how you're taking it out there, what's different. We in crazy summer season, everyone's dropping singles. So you got to come up with something, I think, that's like uniquely different. And one of the ways to do that, I think, is brands.
Yeah. There's a big debate about how brands are involved in the culture right now. Like you're saying, it's very important for us to get to a strategic level in these conversations, as opposed to being poster boys and girls for whatever campaigns they're doing. How do you feel about, one, the big involvement of brands in the culture as it is now, and two, the way artists are going about it? Because someone like Muzi's always complaining about how we're not doing it the right way. How do you feel about that?
In terms of first part, brands involving themselves with the culture, I think there's some brands that are more experimental than others. Some are a little bit more brave than others, and are trying to be at the forefront of it. There's some hits and there's some misses, but it's a process where at least the engagement is happening. I think it's also, from the brands and the corporate side, it's also a bit of fear in terms of like, hey, but if we affiliate with, what if something gets showed on the Insta Live video, or what if something is said on Twitter?
So hip hop also.
So I think those are like genuine fears that brands have, but also just changing the mindset of the corporate structures and what they think they need to do from a brand marketing strategic perspective with hip hop. It's unknown territory for them, so I think there's that nervousness, and even within the corporate structures themselves, being non-white. In those divisions, and trying to push a certain agenda to say this is what it is, change the content of the script from that to make it more relatable. Those are battles that are being fought on the corporate side. So imagine us now on the outside trying to get in, and vice versa. So it's a whole mind shift thing that needs to happen, and it's happening gradually. I hope the pace of it happens faster. In terms of us and how we do it, I think we also just need to be a lot more forward thinking in terms of taking steps towards that. Don't wait for the brands to hit you up. Find cool ways. Give them solutions. Make it easier for them to plug in. Give them outcomes they didn't think of, because not everybody knows what they are. And make relationships with the creative agencies, and so you can have those conversations. So I think it's a bit of give and pull and on both ends. And it'll get there. It's just like I said, some brands are taking more risks than others. Some artists are taking more initiative than others. Some brands are actually reaching out. We were at an event this week. Mr. Slick himself was there too. In terms of mindshare and them just engaging with brands and artists. So it's happening. Just the pace of it, I think, will progress as time goes on.
Yeah. You've been working on music.
Yeah.
What's going on? Where's the music, bro? You dropped Get the Bag. It was a crazy campaign. First of all, where does all that money come from?
You know, hey, Get the Bag, man. Like, I was sitting with my team and I was like, yo, man, you know, the song's dope. We're clear on that. But like, we need something extra. Talking point, a social media point of how do we get people's attention on a bigger level? Just because there is so much dope music coming out. So that was when it was just like, yo, you know, actually, let's just, we're saying get the bag, so let's give people a bag and let's give people money. So the first cash prize I just took out of my pocket. I was like, cool, we'll give away a bag and $1,000. And I was like, what amount? It's 500. You know how Twitter is. Be like, oh, it's just 500. I'm like, nigga, it's 500.
It's a lot of money.
Have, you know
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, give away $1,000. And Sprayground jumped on board in terms of that campaign. And yeah, we just started saying, you know, tweet the lyrics, which means you have to listen to the song, tweet your favorite punchline. And it just blew up, like it went crazy. And then towards the end of it, then I got a brand involved and we did the whole giveaway, 20,000.
Yeah, the big
giveaway.
prize, yeah.
Man, it was nuts. I was sitting on the couch in the interview, right? And my phone vibrating. I'm like, yo, who's calling me in the interview? Like, you, maybe an uncle or something. And I looked, it was Twitter mentions. It was nuts. Like, that of any social media campaign that I've had, that was been the most successful.
Yeah.
And, you know, the people on the back end who helped bring that to life, they were like, the numbers on that were just nuts. So that at least also for me was like, okay, cool. This is just part of the building blocks to say, okay, for the next one, the next one, the next one.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, yeah, the song was really dope. I had fun with that. That was one of my favorite joints to work on this year.
That was so crazy, and it blew, like you're saying, the campaign was so huge, but I feel like it also went quite very quickly. Is it because, you know, you couldn't stretch it any longer in terms of visual or other promotion? Because we noticed that AKA was not in the video. Why was he not in the video?
Hey man, this question comes up so much.
Because
like,
we want to know. Because it's
up.
like, yo, this collab was sick, and then, you know, and then obviously we expected both of you in the video.
That was probably the strongest collabo track he's had this year. Like a week in, we were number 58 on the Rams chart.
Yeah.
7 days after release. So like, it was crazy, like the momentum that we had. In terms of the whole fallout there, you know, you can unpack a whole long story. To make a long story short, it came down to, believe it or not, he was upset my verse was first in the song. Like, that's pretty much the crux of where it started.
Yeah.
And then it just, you know, from a little cut, it became festive, it became this, it just overlapped, got bigger, and it just got to the point where it was like, okay, you know, this could have been resolved, but it wasn't. And then it started impacting other things, from interviews that were scheduled. We were supposed to do a spotlight interview in terms of the, and that didn't happen. And then channel interviews, then bookings, and then the actual video shoot in terms of the crew, you know, being available for his segment over the Durban July weekend, and then not being at the video shoot. So it was like, it got to the point where it was just like, hey man.
There was no solution going to this.
There would have been a solution to just pick up a phone, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we're grown-ass men, you know, just pick up a phone and we could have resolved it, but it never got to that. And like I said, once a bit of picking away and a conversation had happened, that was pretty much the crux of what it was to say. And no, you know, but I feel like this was, and it was like, but if that was the issue, then pick up a phone, bro.
Yeah.
Like there's time, money, and budget which got wasted on something that could have been very easily resolved.
Very easily solved.
Very easily resolved. So for me, I was just like, nah, man. There's a certain line of like a mutual respect to say, okay, cool, this is crossed, and this person is going, I don't care about your time or whatever it is. So I was like, let that ship sail. Yeah. I'm not even gonna bother pursuing it. It's really, it just wasn't worth it. So the song went out, the video still came out hella plush, it was clean as hell.
Yeah, very.
One of my favorite videos actually. And yeah, so what I did was then I just transitioned into Amen. And put that through. And yeah, Amen was also a dope joint. I had a lot of fun with that. Just vocally like stretching who I am as an artist, you know what I mean?
Very personal.
Yeah.
Take us to the writing of that. I mean, you're someone who I think is very private. Yeah. And on that particular track, if you're listening carefully, you literally just bleeding your life, family life, you know, just strength and just going through whatever you're going through. I mean, what was the process in writing that?
Process in writing that was like, I get two types of ways where like creatively I'll get into a track. One is like you get to hear it, it's dope, and then you go back and you vibe with it, and then there's ones where you hear it and you're like, I got the hook.
Yeah.
Cool, that's that. Okay, I'm already scribbling the verses. Like, and Get the Bag and Amen were both those type of joints. It just flowed naturally. It was quick. And I know from myself, it's like, if you get into it really quickly, it's usually a strong song. That's how I wrote Hammer. That's how I did 20 Chains. That's how I did Meant to Be. That's how I did Get the Bag, Amen. Suga was the same. So, yeah, it was just really, it came off as a very honest song in terms of the piano. It had this gospel,
very
light vibe. So I was
different
like,
from Get the Bag, actually.
Yeah, very different, polar opposites almost. But like, I was just like, look, the song needs that, so write within that space. And I found that's easier to write in terms of your space where you're at, whatever the case is, because you're not trying to be relatable. You're not trying to throw in the new flow, or you're just going, yo, this is it. I can only tell my story as well as me, and
take it or leave it.
Nobody else can tell that story better. So it was a nice, refreshing creative process in terms of that. And I mean, I've just learned from history, Meant to Be. Like, a lot of people are like, yo, this was your best joint, just the way you wrote it. What you said, Hammer was a venting. So I've just noticed, like, tapping into your personal space and emotion, or whatever the case is, and putting that into something that's commercially sounding really relevant. That's sort of where I kind of hit the ball.
Yeah. So what's the plan for you next? I mean, you very observant right now. You're more observant than I've ever noticed you to be.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like you were saying, the tracks that you just mentioned, you were just dropping, you were just going crazy with the tracks. But now it looks like you're kind of in a different zone. Like, where are you right now in the music?
Just getting the sound right. This year, a lot of big hip hop songs dropped, a lot of dope music dropped, but there wasn't that major ones. Now Spirit is here, Kid X with Auntie. I feel like Rap Life has got that sound in terms of which direction to hit. They've got that on lock right now. I don't think anybody's touching them. But like, yeah, in terms of where I'm at and what I'm doing, it's just really just refining again. I think you never get to a point where as a creative you ever go, okay, that's it.
This is it, yeah, that's true.
And the rapid change in music and the pace of music that's coming out and consumed, like we've said, it's so quick. If your song's being spoken about for a month, you're lucky. You know what I mean? So for me, it was just about also going into an album mode now to say, okay, there's lots of content, but redefining that and just sitting with my new manager and going, okay, cool. What is the sound? What's the direction? How are we gonna place this? How do you make sure that it stands out for the right reasons? You've got longevity, you've got commercially what you need, but you also put yourself as an artist across and it's unique. So it's really just been that. The single side of it, yeah, that goes. I mean, there's a lot of people I worked with. The joints, I mean, there's Kid X, there's Liz. I've got something coming out with Youngster called Crimea River. That's gonna be nuts. There's something that I've already sent through to Questa, and I'm just waiting on him in terms of that, and maybe roping Kid X onto that as well. You know, Suga 2.0.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nuts.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, so, you know, and again, just getting the sound right. There's a lot of joints that you get from producers or that you record where it's like, it's a dope song, but is it the right song?
What does getting the sound right mean? Does it mean Blayze, what Blayze wants to do, or because like you're saying, there's a lot of music happening, music dropping, and there's this particular sound that's also ruling right now. So where do you balance in that? Do you try and perhaps stay relevant to the sound, or do you just make yours more refined? What does getting the right sound mean?
There isn't, in my opinion, there isn't a rule of thumb on that. Like,
Yeah.
there's, okay, this is what the current sound is. So in terms of radio charts, in terms of DJs spinning in your set, knowing they have an hour, they've got 4 of their own songs, then 4 of their homies' songs, and then 4 of the songs they like particularly, and then 2, which is Drake's new track and Migos' new song, and the hour's done. So you got to fit in that space. So
That's so brilliant. I never thought about it like that.
literally, so
Yeah.
in that hour, you've got to find a space in there to have 2 hooks and 1 verse in there. So there is a portion of you that goes, okay, from a commercial single side, you need to make sure you're relevant in terms of the sound so that you can fit there. But do it in a way that still comes out uniquely you, because like you'll get a lot of trap stuff, a lot of, like even with Amen, it's a trap bounce.
Yeah, very.
But the piano gives it like a more musical feel. That for me is always something that I'm looking for. It's like, give me something extra. I don't want to hear, okay, that's the snare from so-and-so producer's pack,
Yeah.
and that's the kick from, and this the synth or the bass line. Like I always try to look for something a bit more where it's like, yeah, I've heard it, but not like that. And I think that's also why Get the Bag, you know, had it also from a musical perspective, where it was just like the hook, there's melody in it, it wasn't rapped, it was sing rap delivered, like, and it just had this vibe. Amen as well. People were like, yo, it's just got this thing. So that's what I try to do, and getting to that is easier said than done from a production side, because there was a stage I was producing everything. And I was like, no, I have producers I work with and I'll add in, or just go, yo, beat's cool as it is. So it's just that process of finding how do you stay within what's there, but do it yourself. But more than that is like, even if you got the hottest single, an album is 14 tracks, what you gonna do for the rest of it? So you need to make sure that it's not one-dimensional. You need to make sure you creatively put yourself across in a way that sounds comfortable. There's two things you can't rely on, a microphone and a camera. You know what I mean? You can't go, yeah, I'm confident, but you don't sound
We
good.
can see and hear it.
And genuine, you know, sometimes you hear songs and you're like, if this guy just had somebody guiding him in terms of how he delivered that verse, I hear what you're saying, but I don't feel it as much. So it's those little things. Once you've written it, delivering it is another thing. Like, how do you get it right? When I said this, did you feel some type of way? If you didn't, then it's like, well, you kind of missed an opportunity to engage with somebody on that level long term. You know what I mean? Not just for the moment, but for the song. So it's that process. I'm in a good space in terms of like the creative people around me, like my band, my new manager. Like there's just, we're in the same sort of energy, you know what I mean? And again, it was even to say, look, don't rush the process, because once it's out, you know, and then you get critique and you get all of this. So make sure, like, whatever product you're putting out, just make sure it's right. So that's just sort of the space.
I'm really proud of you for that, the growth. Like you said, as an artist, you can never really be like, okay, I've got the sound, this is it. You're always growing, and I appreciate that you always refresh yourself, whether it's through brand, you know, associations, the music, everything you always do is always refreshing. A very, very good example, and also not rushing things. Like I said, you're observing things now, and it's October. We're all dropping because we want to be part of the festive, but it's not so much the case with you. So obviously we're going to get the album next year.
That's the plan. Definitely 2018. I think it's time. Again, just sitting on the
it's been a minute.
It's been a minute, and like again, but it's just the touch-ups, you know, the little threading it together, making sure everything goes the way it should. But yeah, 2018 is. I definitely want to drop a body of work. I'm keen for that, and I mean, I've still got another body of work that's just chilling, an EP. And again, just discussions to say no, but don't get caught in a rush and make sure that this. So it was like, okay, cool. So yeah, there's an EP that's sitting, and then obviously the album content that's chilling as well. And then some offcuts in terms of like, it wouldn't be on the album or the EP, but it could be a single or just something for SoundCloud.
Maybe drop those, you know, leading towards, because it's quite noisy. Maybe drop those to just let people know you're coming through next year. Yeah, and then next year just go in with the EP and the album.
True, that's the plan. So that's what
man, I just needed to check what's going on. I'm checking your timelines and it looks like you're working, but like, where is the work? It was very frustrating for me. I had to get you on the couch to find out what's going on. But like, good news that we're hearing. Very proud of you, and we can't wait to hear what you're working on. It's gonna be on Slick On Night first, anyway.
You guys will be the listening session, all that sort of stuff. Even pre-listening session, just, you know, bounce and whatever. But yeah, as soon as it's you know, ready to push out, now you guys will be the first to know, as usual. That's dope, man. It's always so great to like catch up with you and especially grow with you. So it's quite interesting how you kind of stay the same but always refresh. It's actually quite dope. Like, but it's good to see you. Good to see you.
He's here.
Shout out to Slick
He's
On
working.
Live, shout out to you guys, man. The platform's growing. Like, it's dope to watch even the progression, bigger office space, you know, all that sort of stuff. So shout out to you guys and the team.
This guy just put us on blast. Don't walk in here.
No, you make it like I'm saying the previous office was small. Previous office was big
I'm
too.
Just saying, like, don't be letting people come out here and have a party in our office.
But shout out to the progression, man. As long as you're going and you're moving forward, and like just the dynamics and the layers of Slicker on Life, it's more than just a music platform. It's the culture, it's the brands. I saw him at the Mindshare thing, you know what I mean, and the back end of the Soul Incubator, and you know, little things like that. It's like, okay, cool. There's levels to this, and it's you've been from the jump actively contributing to the culture. So, and not just talking about it, but actually being about it. So it's dope seeing those sort of drives and initiatives. Because I always said, like, there's no resource or website that you can really hang on to figure
Yeah,
out
that's true.
what it is, you know what I mean? So, shout out to Silicon Lab.
We out here. Second Life, Blayze. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having
me.
me.
We're tailing you, we're watching you.
Yeah,
every little move is going up on the website.
Nah, I'll keep you updated. No doubt.
Yeah. Shout out to you, man.
Cool.
I let it shine, little light of mine.
Broadcast live